Okay, we do have a Huey help real
Yes.
quick before I have to run. I've got to go get my Eagles qualifier. So this is really
Should I
interesting.
fire off
Actually,
the intro?
yeah, it actually has to do with not naming people, not throwing people
Okay.
under the bus. So yeah, hit it and I'll read it.
If you've got trouble, we've got the cure for what ails ya.
The Bay Area's bestie, Huey, is here with advice.
It's Huey Help.
It's so catchy. It's so catchy. Okay, so Brandon on Instagram writes, my wife recently finished writing her first novel. That's exciting. Something
Oh.
I've always wanted to do. I have, yes. Oh, wait, it won't do it till it's run out.
I know, yeah.
There we go.
I got all these. There's too many buttons to push here. I'm good at pushing people's buttons.
Pushing people's buttons, yes. Nothing like a live podcast. Okay,
know.
my wife recently finished writing her first novel. That's a big deal. So congratulations. She's very excited about it, but he's feeling nervous. Brandon says, I'm feeling nervous. It turns out she's based most of her characters very obviously on some of our closest friends, including their personal struggles and secrets that they've trusted us with over the years. Oh boy.
Ooh.
She insists it's just fiction. Oh, she's insisting it's just fiction. That's interesting. But anyone in our circle would recognize themselves immediately. I don't want to hurt her feelings or dampen her excitement, but I'm worried this book could blow up our friendships. Should I encourage her to change it before she tries to get it published, or am I overthinking it? Oof, that's a tough one. That's a Huey help. You go first.
Man.
Yeah, that's
I mean, that's
twisted webs we weave.
And we've seen that like with rock stars who do like biographies or some form of that, and like they change the names to protect the innocent.
Yeah.
So my thing is like you can deny if you change the name. Be like, oh no, that's not you. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, well, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
Well, no, I was gonna say, but then again, yes, you're right. If it's like a blow by blow, just like whatever's like described written in the book, that person will be like, this is exactly what I did. So you're telling me I'm this person's name you made up. So I don't know if there's ways,
because they may, I mean, here's the case. They're going to immediately recognize themselves, right? So they'll be pissed, but the world won't know it's them.
Yeah.
Because the world doesn't know their secrets, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it's so tricky, because they're going to feel like you're putting their shit out there, but you're not really, because nobody's going to know to trace it back to them. Right. I mean, he's not giving enough detail for us to know how bad this is. Like, is it your friend that had an affair and you're putting them on blast? Is your friend kill somebody? Like, how juicy is this book?
Well, but the other thing too is like, I guess for you and I, it might be a little tough to understand, because as we were talking off the air, you were mentioning we live in a public world, or like a public career as far as working in radio. We put our lives out there either on the air or in podcast form. We're talking about ourselves a lot, our families, our friends, things that we do, things that we share with everyone. Now, granted, I mean, speaking for myself, I don't share everything. People don't need to know every single aspect of my life. Like, I can't stand people on Facebook who post every single thought update on Facebook. I don't want to be that person in like the podcast world, tell you every single thing, because my life is not that entertaining that every aspect of it is worth mentioning. But at the same time, I think for the most part, we're so used to like talking about everything openly. I guess in some situations, we are vague or don't say people's names specifically. So I guess that is somewhat understandable with the book situation here.
I kind of have a rule in my life. Like, if you tell me a story and you don't want it on the air, then you need to let me know, because if it makes for a good on-air story, I'm going to use it. I won't say your name. I've said that to people that I love a lot. In fact, recently I said that to my trainer, Topher, because he is hilarious and tells crazy wild stories. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to use that one. Are you cool with it? And he doesn't care at all. So he would be like, oh yeah. But I think it's important for people to know that. Like, I'm quite the opposite from you. I am an oversharer. I am a queen oversharer. I mean, I've been in radio for almost 25 years. I'm on the air 8 hours a day. I'm a part of 3 podcasts and a TV show. I'm like, my whole, like, I live probably more. If you're looking at hours in the day, I probably live publicly more than I do privately. I'm just like recognizing that as I say it out loud. So I don't really have any secrets. The only thing I protect is Jay and Cody.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
If we have something serious going on, like I can't think of an example, but if something happened like that was really negative or really intense, or Jay and I got in a fight, like I wouldn't put that on blast.
Yeah. No, I
Or
was just
something private for Cody. But
yeah.
that,
Exactly. I mean, I know one thing off, but I'm not gonna say it. But
right.
but I guess for me, I've learned to put up that wall a little bit just because.
Oh, it's healthy. You should.
But that history of where we work for so many years, where things I have said privately end up on the air, and I was like, "Whoa, I don't want that part on the air." Like I told you,
well, because you didn't make that choice. It's different that I'm making the choice.
You control it. Yeah, you can control
you
that.
Control it, right? Exactly. Like I wouldn't want you putting my shit on the air. I make that choice.
Yes.
So I need to learn boundaries with myself. I don't have. But if I knew something was going on in your life, like I know plenty about you that the world doesn't know, I wouldn't go putting your shit on the air for content.
Exactly.
That's just not cool.
Exactly. Or at least let's talk about it and like what's okay, what parts are okay to talk about, what's not okay to talk about. Like,
or if we're embellishing for the story.
Yeah. Or let's communicate and plan something out and not try to go for the shock value of like, surprise, I'm doing all this on the air and you can't control it. So
right. Yeah,
exactly. So that's what I'm getting at. And that's the thing with this podcast, though. I do want to open up more about things, and hopefully between like Huey Help and a lot of these fun topics that we're finding and talking that will like unlock things in my brain that have been like back in the closet area of my brain that like, oh yeah, I have a funny story, or I can relate. I experienced this or that, and I can share some funny stories because I do have funny moments in my life that maybe not everyone knows about, but I'm willing to talk about it. But at least I can control that setting. And
this is a safe space for you to have fun with your own stories based on what you want to share. And that's the difference. So does that mean in this Huey Help question that we're coming down to the girl needs to have a conversation with her friends? It sounds like that's what we're saying. It's like if you're gonna share all of their stories, maybe they should have the sign off.
Yeah.
Like, and you can tell them like, hey, I changed your name, I changed these details or whatever, but maybe it's respectful to allow them to decide.
Actually, I wonder, could someone sue the other person? So I wonder, if the author needs to get permission to talk about it, or
I don't think if they change their name, I don't think so. I'm not positive.
That's something to look at. Or if you know, please leave a comment down below. But that's the thing too. I would love to know, maybe as a courtesy, you need to tell them, hey, I'm going to use this story, but hey, listen, maybe you got to give them the heads up. Maybe, from someone that's been surprised on the air with things, I would love a courtesy call. Or
be able to play a role in it.
Yeah.
In radio, not in this book's perspective, but in radio, we all bounce off of each other. And so it's like, okay, this is my story. Yeah, I'll play with it a little bit. We can have some fun with it. I think you're right. I think it is the respectful, especially if you want to continue the friendship. I think it's respectful to let the person in on the idea and get their approval. Now, if this person's an a-hole and you don't care about the friendship, then change their name and do your thing, I guess.
Yeah. And make that money.
Make that money. As far as the husband goes, I don't think you're totally like, killing the baby or anything by telling her like, hey, I think this is awesome, but bringing up to her, maybe you should have a conversation about it. The problem is the book has been written. It sounds like the work has been done. So if let's say all, 5 of these friends, I'm just making up numbers now. Let's say there's 5 of these friends, she's referenced their stories and all 5 of them are like, no, absolutely not. Then she doesn't have a story. Then the question is, do you do it anyway?
Well, that's a conversation to have. And then it's like, well, this, before you turn in the assignment, it's like,
exactly.
Can you like add or subtract some things, or maybe change some things to protect the innocent better? So,
exactly.
Yeah. So but that's a discussion you need to have, and hopefully the author is open to that stuff or willing to.
I hope so too. Well, thank you to Brandon for reaching out. I mean, I have started a book. I'm about 3 chapters roughly into my book, and it involves a lot of stories with people from my past, as a book would. And some of those people I don't necessarily speak of anymore, or speak to, like ex-boyfriends or whatever. So I have changed their names and I would not contact them. But I feel like that's my story to tell, because what they did, it was to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's like, it may involve them, but it's my story. So,
cool.
bitch, I'm going to tell my story.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I get it. So
I think there's a lot of fine lines there.
Yeah, a lot of gray area. I mean, you're
Yeah.
not going to please everyone in this situation, but as
Yeah.
best you can, I like to think the good in one person would like figure out what's the best situation to make everyone happy or most people happy. Or at the
Well
same time,
said.
maybe they're like, fuck it. I want to
Yeah.
make this book. It's going to be a bestseller. I'm going to make that money and retire off this.
Yep. Well, these days, a lot of people are like, fuck it, I'm going to make the money.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, morals, it seems, are hard to find these days on so many levels. Isn't
or,
it crazy?
or share it in a group text thread or something.
Oh my God. Yeah, right. Let's just put all the information out there no matter what. All right. I've got to go get my
Okay.
Eagles qualifier. You guys are
Yes.
seeing life in real time here. Thank you guys to everybody who joined us live. We always love you guys playing along, and in the comments, it's so much fun. My niece, Morals, who is she? Yeah, no freaking kidding. And make sure you send us an email. If you do have a question, you can reach either of us on Instagram. I'm pretty crappy about getting back to people. I was somebody pointed that out to me this weekend. Yes, you were right. I do have a hard time keeping up with the DMs. But send us an email, Chasta and Huey at gmail.com.
Yeah, so please email us anything. Got a question for Huey Help or just any other feedback or anything else you want to contribute to the podcast. Follow us on social at Chasta and Huey. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us this a thumbs up. Leave a comment, your thoughts. And share the podcast and love the community that we're building here as shown by the comments. And let's get out of here so you can finish the rest of your work.
Yes. Oh, real quick shout out. I'm wearing a shirt that says, Hit Music. It is from Bay Area artist Greg Hoy. So if you want to check him out, he's really, really great. This is the name of his most recent album that just came out. I just interviewed him on Soundwaves. So he will be on the season 8 of Soundwaves TV. So
Greg
just wanted to
Hoy.
Greg Hoy. Okay.
I'm from Hawaii.
I'm going to say that's like a little Minions or I love that. We're going to have to use that more often. All right. On that note, thank you guys for being here. We love you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. That's awesome.